Well, it might seem as if you're looking off into the void behind that timing tower in the background, but what you don't understand is that is the nighttime sky right in and around the airport in Daytona Beach, Florida. It's also right in the middle of the Daytona road course, which is where tonight's round of season number 20, the V8 Vets Championship, proudly brought to you by RaceKraft Simulations, is going to be held. Scotty Rankin behind the comms once again, off alongside of Thomas Hins and Dan Yeaman behind the scenes pressing all the buttons. I'm disappointed in you, Hinsey. You missed Interlagos, and she's a brilliant old track. What are your thoughts on Interlagos compared to Daytona?
Hello and welcome everybody to tonight. I think I actually haven't really raced the supercars at Interlagos for a while. I've always just happened to be busy when something's come up when like Scops has been there and other series. So I haven't actually raced the VS around there for a while, but great circuit, is awesome track, awesome fun, great fun in these cars, and pretty much any car. I haven't raced a car in there that hasn't been fun. So it was a shame that I missed that one. It was a bit of a shame, but I did see that we had the Scotty Gamble show in full effect still, and it'll be interesting to see if he can continue that tonight here at Daytona. Very different kettle of fish, Scott.
Yeah, all the draft, all of the time is what we're going to be looking at. And that's how close to the beach it is. Not too far away, with those runways just over the banking on the run down into turn number 1 and 2. Or you look basically at plane setting down into the airport. It's a big part of the festivities just outside the track. If the drivers have got the graphics cards capable of supporting those little bits and features, it's a unique thing to have a plane flying over, coming into land as you drive. The red track that's outlined, there are some of the alternative layouts, including the moto course that's actually available on iRacing, which is a tight and technical little layout that a V8 supercar will never visit. Dear God, please never take a V8 supercar to that layout. But this is indeed the Daytona 24-hour road course. Not so much in NASCAR spec, although there are a multitude of chicanes that are actually on offer to the NASCAR road course, including the second one on the front straight away as well. Drafting is going to be something that we will talk about a lot here tonight, Hinsey, and the Daytona road course, and also known as the world's home of racing. The Americans love to claim things like that, don't they?
Oh, they really do. Yeah, they do. I mean, I guess it does have one of the biggest 24-hour races on the calendar, so I guess there's a bit of truth to it. But yeah, it's drafting, as we say, is going to be huge with fuel saving. So it's going to be a lot of strategy with that. There'll be a lot of people just sitting behind people and bulk saving fuel all race, and that's going to be a huge thing for people being able to jump others and all that kind of thing. So I think the first stint will be a lot of that. Will be a lot of trains of people just sitting back, bulk saving fuel, because obviously as we see the layout, so many long straights to just lift off miles before a corner and just save heaps of fuel. So I'd expect that there'll be a lot of that in the first stint, and then they'll mix things up obviously as we head into the later part of the race, and then we might start seeing some more jostling as the race goes on, Scott.
Yeah, and setting yourself up for the long run is going to be incredibly crucial here tonight as well, and 12 turns on the track as well for a total of 5.7 kilometers, so a medium to high length in terms of the overall lap length as well. Pit lane entry is nice and wide, lots of asphalt down there to spread out on, which creates for interesting racing in NASCAR. The supercars will have it on option as well. Championship standings now is something worthwhile having a look at, because after tonight we will have a halfway point of the standings and something to discuss. But before we get to there, what we will be discussing is the thoughts from the drivers as to the Daytona road course. Tyre wear right in the middle of the range, not on the extreme, not on the lower end as well. Fuel saving ability, just about maxed out there, Hinsey, which I can guarantee we'll be talking about all night long. The ability to roll out of the throttle with 2 extremely long straightaways on this circuit makes for a lot of not wanting to be the leader. Strategy variety, 3.17. Fuel strategy tends to create opportunity, but depending upon whether the drivers want to take it, overtaking options. A lot of draft tends to create a higher amount of overtaking, and the numbers reflect that as well. Track difficulty, again, right in the middle of the range. There is a lot of straight line here, but such comes with the difficulty of getting the car stopped at the end of a longer run, particularly in a longer draft train. Safety car percentages, they think they're going to be high, particularly with the banking, particularly with the number of overtaking opportunities. And again, confidence level, they're not all that confident here tonight.
Yeah, interesting. I think that's all pretty much what I would expect there. It's interesting the safety car chance. I would have thought there'd be a little lower. There's a fair bit of room here. I mean, I guess, as we say, a lot of big braking zones, lots of chances for people to get there a bit wrong and end up making contacts and stuff like that. But I would have thought that'd be maybe a little bit lower than that. But we'll see. I guess it's probably now we're going to get probably 5 safety cars. But anyway, that's if so be it. But yeah, it's about probably where I think. Yeah, the track difficulty as well, 3, it's probably, yeah, it's about right. I mean, there's not too much, obviously, to Daytona. I feel like it's a pretty sort of nothing too crazy, but I guess, as you say, it's all those big braking zones. I mean, you get one of them wrong, and then that can completely ruin a lap. You get it wrong to turn 1, and that can bleed you half a second or more, just by being a little bit wrong on the brakes and the line in the corner. So, yeah, it's kind of deceptive, I guess. It's looks very easy, but it's not the easiest track, but it's not the most difficult either. But it's still going to produce, I'm sure, some fantastic racing tonight, Scott.
Yeah, and the difficulty and the technicality of that turn 1, turn 2 braking zone as well. It's a double apex. You've got to sweep the car back in. Your slowest speed is right down at the tail end of it, and you've got to phase on and off the brake. And ultimately, technical braking zones like that create for better racing because it gives a lot of opportunity for the drivers to show their skill as well, which they're always proud of. To the race information for tonight. Normally, it's going to be a little bit of a longer race when we come to Daytona, with a little bit calmer. No, it's going to be 35 laps here, the duration, for 200 total kilometers. The fuel tank will be started just on the lower side of halfway, about 5.5 liters on the lower side of halfway. Your fuel burn as well. Have a look at the differential. When we say there's a lot of opportunity to save fuel, they mean it. You can save, not quite a cup, but about half a cup worth of fuel. A lap is what you're potentially able to do in terms of your typical fuel burning. You probably save all the way up to, probably about a cup a lap, which is actually quite a significant margin. Total fuel to add across the duration tonight, it's about 1 entire tank of fuel. Probably see a lot of drivers split that 50-50 bang on down the middle. 2 compulsory pit stops as usual with the lap opening at the end of lap number 2, and you can make it home from the end of lap number 10, although lap number 11 will make it safe. That's what we're looking at in terms of the range, and if that's the case, that means the longest that our starting fuel can actually go for these guys is going to be right in around lap 8 to 10 in terms of their starting range, which is always interesting to have a look at and see. In terms of our championship standings now, we'll jump on over to have a look at that, and I think we're all pretty confident on who was going to be leading this way, although I believe perhaps one of those drop rounds has started to be calculated into the equation. 740 leads the way for Scott Gamble. He is 54 points clear of Blake Delaney and Michael Whiting. Had a very strong interlagos between the pair of those guys. Moved confidently into 2nd and 3rd place respectively. Michael Stewart, was just talking to him before this, is having a reasonably consistent start to the season, and oh no, I've already cursed him. Sits in 4th place as it currently stands. Chris Miller makes it 3 fishy cars inside the top 5. Damien Cairns back in terms of consistency because results have been a little bit all over the place to start the season. From Dean Flavel, also having a great season. We'll see the Dino once again, I am sure. Christian Smart from Brad Doble makes his way inside the top 10 with the Driver of the Day performance from last week. Also making his debut in Vets this season. Taliencic, 10th spot in that order. Probably not altogether too happy with that result. But that's what the top 10 looks like in terms of the championship standings. Obviously, Gamble's just being super consistent. He's putting a lot of work in at the moment, and it just shows, Hinzi.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, just been super consistent, getting the job done, always at the front, as if he's not winning or on pole, he's right behind it. So yeah, he's looking ominous again tonight, but one thing he doesn't have is he doesn't have any teammate support tonight. I don't know McNamara or anybody else from his team here to help him out, so there is that we'll have to keep an eye out and see if that plays a part, because obviously being a lot of fuel saving, as we said, there's a lot of room for team strategy like that to help with fuel saving, etc. So we'll see how that plays out, but yeah, he's been pretty insurmountable so far this season, and yeah, I think, and I saw that looks like Taliancic is not here tonight, so that's a threat that isn't here. And obviously, I think Kenny Ladder, again, obviously, as we know, is missing a couple of rounds this season. So it's going to be interesting to see who can step up and really take the fight to Scott in this round of the season.
Time now to have a look at last week's Driver of the Day. We were just talking about him for the Chubby Buttons Burgers Driver of the Day recap. The reason for it, Brad Doble. And what the drive he had last week was able to not just overtake a couple cars, had a quite good, strong qualifying performance, made his way inside the top 10. That was the critical factor. And he is on debut. Not only on debut for the series, but on debut into top split is always a tough cookie to crack. And one of the things is, when you talk about the V8 supercar, how many fixed setup leads are now circulating in the Australian community? There aren't very many, and that makes the prospect of getting yourself into V8 Vets, cracking it, and being able to set up and have a good run sometimes a little bit daunting. He's cracked that straight away, and he's been consistent. That he was right on the fringe of the top 10 all the way back at Road America, cracked it last week.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's so awesome to see a driver come in and be able to really excel in these fixed setup series, because it obviously shows your adaptability, because you can't obviously change the setup, so you can't tweak things to your liking, so you just got to kind of take it and run with it and try and make the best you can with what you've got. And it's really, when you're able to jump in and really quickly adapt and make it work, it's a showing of a very versatile driver, and Brad's really showing it this season, and hopefully tonight he can keep that going. He's a little bit further back in the qualifying by the looks of it, but 200k race, plenty of time for him to come through again and look to try and maybe get on top 10 if possible.
Yeah, so that's the big keys for Brad Doble. Righto, qualifying results now in the book. So we're going to start punching our way right through them. And without a surprise, Scott Gable, once again to the top of the order, sets the fastest qualifying lap of the night. We'll start from pole position. Off alongside of him is going to be Blake Delaney on your front row. In terms of row number 2, though, as we shuffle our way slightly further back, it's going to be Matt Vanderkram from Tim Nickel. Both of them having another strong qualifying performance. It'll be interesting to see if Vanderkram's continued to work on that tyre wear that continues to plague and be his Achilles heel. Michael Stewart sits 4th in terms of the championship standings, sits 5th on the grid. Phenomenal qualifying effort from him. Starting alongside of him, though, Travis Hunt with an opportunity. He'll have teammate Jeff Thomas returning to action tonight after a couple of weeks off. On row number 4, it's going to be Michael Whiting and David Kirby to make it an all-fishy row number 4. Kirby looking to try and force his way back inside the top 10, and Whiting already right there in podium contention for the series. Chris Miller off of row number 5, off alongside the first of the ERC cars, with Chad Lewis alongside of him. Miller's starting to find those hints of form that we saw in seasons gone by. We'll see if he can recover a little bit more of that tonight. Scotty Van Loon and Jeff Thomas, the returning Jeff Thomas, outside the top 10, but always looking to move his way forwards. Off of row number 7, we're going to see Craig Friend off alongside of Stewie Hall, and Friend has been a little bit argy-bargy over the last few weeks, and not everyone's biggest friend. We'll see if he can advance his way forward tonight. Paul Warwick from Greg Sharp on row number 8. Greg's been putting in some good performances. It'd be good to see him crack inside that top 10 here tonight. David Nash from Stephen Varga. Vargas is another driver that's been in the wars over the last couple of weeks. We'll see if he can settle his way down on and get a consistent result. Damien Cairns starting a long way back alongside of Dean Flavell. Both of these drivers inside the top 10 in terms of points. They'll be looking to move their way forwards and hopefully survive that lap number 1. Outside your 20, though, Stephen Kennedy in your Chubby Buns driver of the day from last week. Brad Doble. Well, Doble's going to be up against it here tonight. Again, all about adapt, overcome for him. Christian Smart off alongside of Robert Crisdale. Both of these guys have been consistent and scored podiums in the past, but they're going to find it difficult from that deep in the field. John McKnight and Mark Poynton deeper in the field. McKnight still struggling to find some of the form that he's had in years gone by, but Mark Poynton's been going from strength to strength, a little bit deeper in the field than he'd like here tonight. Darren Goosey's put in his best qualifying performance of the season thus far to start inside of the 30, off alongside of Robbie Griffiths, another driver that's drifted a long way further back than he necessarily would have liked. Darren Crosby from Jason Fewens are going to round out our top 30. Mario Reale, I was talking to the Hypersonic Racing Team a little bit earlier on. They said they're looking for some images of Mario Reale, so he's going to get a little bit of focus tonight off alongside Jim Caparonis of the Chubby Buns Burgers livery. Might finally win his own Driver of the Day award if he can do some overtaking from there. Scott McCune, best we don't talk about him. That might save him some luck off alongside of Paul Burns. Out of 35th and 36 is going to be Stephen Gretsch, and on alongside of him will be Chris Blanchard. It'd be interesting if Chris Blanchard can make his way forwards. Oh, by the way, Chris Blanchard and I are from the same hometown, I found out last week. Gary Buckland and Shane Randell deeper in the field, 37th and 38th, with our final qualifying driver out of 39th, and I believe we will have one pit lane start, which will be Glenn Corbett. Has not set a qualifying lap here tonight, so we're expecting him to start from the pit lane. 40 cars in attendance. That's how they rack them. And anyone you've got your eyes on in that Zoom call there, Mr. Hins?
Well, I think as usual, you got to keep an eye on the smooth Scotty Gamble, of course, as usual. Always a very smooth operator. And also probably the VR. I always love watching the VR guys because it's interesting to see them drive with the gear, especially as well. Probably keep an eye out on Glenn Corbett, who's got that new headset because his Player One sim gear have moved to Sunshine Coast. That's the new headset he's sporting. So let's see how he goes with the new gear. I think, Scott.
Yeah, and I was talking to them. They've obviously picked up some new gear as well. They're Sunshine Coast sponsor of Player One Sim Gear just around the corner for them. They're a big supporter of the series as well. So those are the drivers that are on Zoom. Those are the drivers we'll be checking in with. Scott Gamble has fixed his mouth opening and closing problems, so he's been working on that. And now, probably one of the most difficult starts you are likely to see on the season. We start on the bankings of Daytona. What does that mean? We start on a lean. And the rhyme was so good, it was just in time for the race start, as the green flag will be waiting at the front end of the field. The lights will come on. V8 supercars by 40 of them, all over the age of 40. And on the run down to turn number one, looks like everyone's just about gotten away to a good start. There was a few people in the field that did not get drive from that high side that are slowing down just a fraction. But Gamble got great drive, and Matt Vanderkruijs was trying to fire it down the inside. Delaney's had to go a long way around the outside. Still manages to hold on to that spot. Will become the inside when they get down to the horseshoe for the first time here tonight. And they all tend to feed in. It's been really nice and pleasing. Thank yous. There's one car around in the background facing in the wrong direction as they'll feed back on. And that might be Dean Flavella, I think, just looking at those colours quickly.
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to find who it is. I can't find who it is at the moment, but looks like most of the field.
Greg Sharp.
Greg Sharp, yeah, I was about to say, he's popped up on the radio, and it is Sharp. Oh, and that left rear is absolutely gone, but looks of it, my image is right. Oh, yep, that left rear is destroyed. Oh, that's, yep.
Yeah, he is having a lot of problems trying to keep that one straight. And unlucky for Greg, 16th in terms of qualifying, so he had a reasonable getaway and an opportunity to top 10 bagged. We'll have to get a replay of lap 1, turn 1. Sorry, excuse me, I just can't stop yawning at the moment. Our top two have actually broken away quite excessively in the meantime, and Blake Delaney's immediately gone into massive fuel save mode. Matt Vanderkruijs, I think, still sits in third. No, Vanderkruijs had a wiggle, or something's gone wrong for him as they come out onto the oval for the first time, and that's allowed Tim Nicol to skate on through, but there's now a huge break in the pack between second and third. I think Tim Nicol actually just got a slowdown penalty as he cut his way through the chicane. So now we get into a little bit of NASCAR style action. Bump drafting from Matt Vanderkruijs. No, he's immediately going to go on the offense. Got the draft off of Travis Hunt, and they are going to go side by side. Have a look at them deeper in the pack as they're all trying to pick up a little bit of a toe, looking for the opportunity to go 3 wide. Doesn't present itself on the run down to turn number 1. And I tell you what, Michael Whiting came out of nowhere and now sits third on the raceway. So not only is those guys at the front making moves, they're making moves deeper in the pack, and you're going to see that for the duration of 34 more laps here tonight.
Well, this is, and look, 2 by 2 these guys, they're going side by side through the entirety of the infield here, and it's great to see. What this is doing, though, is letting the top two just absolutely gallop away. They are absolutely flying. Blake and Scott are out of here already, and these guys dueling them. It's great entertainment for us, but it's not really helping their race right now, as those top two are absolutely gapping this entire field. And look at this massive train of, it goes all the way down to, I don't even know where, long way, let's say. Most of the field, I think, most of the field is still off the back of third because of all that dueling they were doing there along the oval in that first lap. So it looks like Whiting's got it for now, but obviously, as we say, the draft is so powerful. I mean, as long as you're within that sort of second onto the oval, you're pretty much never going to be able to lose them, as long as you don't completely stuff up the chicane on that lap. And you see Van der Kraan again on the run. Is he going to have a look? He is. It looks like he really wants to lead this pack in these early laps. He's going to dive down the inside. Whiting is going to let him have it, is he? Yes, he will. And he now takes that position, but will it stay that way, Scott? Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely not. There's a long, long way between the start, finish, and there's a slow car actually on the last corner, which I think is Greg Sharp still trying to recover that car all the way back around to the pit lane, and indeed he is. He's still down there. That's the leaders. He is now one lap down before he's even got an opportunity to go racing. So he'll make it back to the pit lane, but have a look at the horde. They are 3 wide on the run of the start-finish line, and there's a few drivers that backed out. Jeff Thomas is now going to build a huge run on the outside, 3 wide on the run, and it's turn number 1. Kirby Sharp goes in. Do they all get down in there? They do give each other enough space, and it came down to Travis Hunt. Roll out of it a little bit. No, in the background, it's some of the drivers around. I think Stewart was involved in that one, and he was.
There's Travis Hunt and Chris Miller coming together. That's what caused it. Yeah, Hunt slowed down a bit too much, I think, and then Chris Miller was caught off guard. I think that looks like that's what it was.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking in the back of my mind, Hinsey, what is this aggression about? What are you trying to achieve? Why not save some fuel and keep yourself out of the drama? Because everyone's in the same tow situation.
Yeah, and also that Michael Stewart got caught in that. He actually went into the wall in turn 1, so he's now got pretty hefty front-end damage and lost a bulk of time. So, yeah, I don't know what this is. We're looking at, again, more battling further back. I'm not sure what the go is here. I mean, the top 2 have already got, 4 seconds at the line. It'll be more now because they were slow again through turn 1, so it's probably about 6 seconds the top 2 have on the entire field. I'm not really sure what the game plan was there. I mean, again, it's entertaining for us. It's great entertainment for us to watch, but for everyone's race situation, it's not really helping as we're getting the replay up now of the start. This is Chris Blanchard. I think this is looking at how this all went, and you can see it actually well. Credit to everyone, they managed to get off the line without any real issues, which, as we said, is always difficult when you're on a lean on this main straight of Daytona. And we're just looking here at turn 1 at all of the happenings going on, and I think that's further back, as you can see. And if you look up at, oh, there you go. Yep, that's what happened there. Oh, jeez. But yeah, really, to be fair, for Daytona off a standing start, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. No, and what we're looking for is probably that super cheap auto car just up ahead at the moment, because just in front of Darren Greasy was Greg Sharp. He was about 3 or 4 rows just up ahead. And we're going to... No, he's actually a lot further up. Yeah. And it's actually the second phase there where he gets ejected. And the reason it snapped off is because he's gone straight into the end of that barrier. But if you just watch, he just gets turned at the last moment. He just gets a whack from somebody in behind him. And that's actually Nash that's in ahead of him. Stephen Varga. So I think that might have actually been Greg Sharp tracking out a little bit. And the tricky part about that, Hinsey, is he wouldn't have got a spotter 3 wide call, but he actually was, for all effectiveness, 3 wide.
Yeah, but yeah, no, you're right. The spotter wouldn't have had time to tell him. So he thought it was 2 wide, probably, without realising there was the other car that was just in overlap. And that's always what can happen.
Wide with that chicane. You cannot go 3 wide through that.
Not with the new curves. Obviously, it's the other thing with Daytona. It's got the new 3D curves. Just kind of look here at this. This is what happened with Travis Hunt and Miller and Stewart. And as you can see, Stewart literally just wrong place, wrong time. He had nowhere to go. The car stopped in front of him. He obviously tried to avoid it, and the car went round. So there's not much he could do in that scenario. And you can see this was the shenanigans we were watching. And yeah, I think it was Travis Hunt just going a little too slowly there because everyone getting backed up. And then Miller, goes barreling in a little bit too hot maybe, but
straightened him out at least.
Yeah, exactly. He did. Yeah. So yeah, but plenty of action already in these open laps. But I think finally, I say it's settled down, but David Kirby and Matt Van der Kraan are still side by side now, so maybe not quite yet.
What that has allowed, though, in the meantime, is Michael Whiting to completely skip clear at the front end of this pack. So now he's gone in pursuit of the leaders as he's been presented with an opportunity. Tim Nichols saving some fuel on the inside, actually backed out a little bit. Paul Warwick's trying to get a little bit aggressive. Nichols now in mega deep, locks the fronts, gets into Van der Kraan, runs him wide end, turns him, also straightens him back out once again. But just why, boys? Why are we doing this at the moment when you could be saving a little bit of gas?
Yeah, and in the end you don't go slower, as these guys are still side by side. Miller looking on the inside now of Nichols as well, and there's still Van der Kraan and Hunt still going at it. This is it's really, I think it's the last lap at the moment the way these guys are battling. But it's the thing, like I think because you're lifting off so much, it always feels like you're going way slower than you actually are. But if you look at the lap times, as long as you're behind someone who's not, not too slow, you're actually not going any slower, if at all. Maybe barely slower than what you'd do at full pace. So it's a bit deceiving. It's so easy to sit behind someone and fuel save and think, God, I'm losing so much time here, I'm so slow. But in reality, you're not really going any slower. It's just because you're lifting so much that you feel like you are. And I think that's a trap that can get you. I know it's sometimes got me as well. I've thought I've been going really slow with the pace, and I'm like, oh no, our pace is good. I just got to relax. So I think that's something that maybe needs to happen a bit here, because we're only 5 laps in, but the way that the battling's been, I would have thought we only have a couple laps to go.
Well, the other thing I'm just sort of thinking about is if you don't want to you do want to improve the pace,
Chris Miller
through the chicane with a whole bunch of attitude in that rear end of that car. And now we'll go slow. And there was definitely contact from somebody in there as he's going to go tumbling back through the field. But bump drafting's the other side of the coin. If no one's working together, I just cannot see anyone that's looking to work together. And was that Varga again that's wrapped on Chris Miller's?
Nickel, I think. Yeah, he got in the back of him, and then because he slowed up and slid, Nichols just giving a little tap on the exit, I believe. This is how that one went down. So, oh wow, and they're still, oh my goodness, this. Sorry, I just went back to, if you go back to live pictures, there we go. Look at this just traffic jam. Oh, that's Craig Friend finding the 3D curves I was trying to mention before. You can't just rattle them like you used to be able to, because they're big 3D curves now, so you can't just go right over them and not be affected like you used to, where they were dead flat. But this is just madness. It's just like rush hour right now. This is insanity.
Well, I can tell you the last time we came here, we ended up maxing out the battle graphic, right? That was the big stat heading into tonight's race. And yeah, it's just really, really interesting to note that we're looking at this and all of a sudden everyone's just losing their heads a little bit. And I just wonder whether or not there's a few guys after last week that are just a little bit got the hackles up, if you will. And just showing a little bit more aggression.
Yeah, I definitely can see that.
Scotty Van Loon's about to retire, I think, from this race, or at least request a tow. So he's held at the moment. But he is in a situation, in a place where he's significantly off the track and might have just towed back to the pit lane. Was that sorry, Paul Burton's not Scotty Van Loon. My apologies.
Yeah, it looks like I think he was a fair way off the track there, so I think race control obviously said, yeah, you're all good to tow. So, oh, they didn't. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, so Boyer towed there before race control gave him clearance, so that will be some sort of penalty, I would say, for towing without permission. But looking back ahead, we've got a battle going on. David Kirby and actually his teammate Paul Warwick, I believe, battling away for P4 here. So this is interesting to see the teammates going at it. And that's Jeff Thomas, returning Jeff Thomas in behind, 12th to 6th. So he's managed to keep clear of the drama. Same with Paul Warwick, actually. They both managed to keep clear as well. Jeff having a look up the inside. But yeah, they managed to keep clear of the dramas, the many dramas we've had already at the start of this race, and they're in a decent little spot. But as you can see, again, this is just showing, again, the way this is going. The top two, 6 seconds and a clear. They are gone. They're out of here. Then Michael Whiting is just clear of the draft of these guys, but I suspect if they can work together, they'll be able to catch him back up. Well, the way this is going, the way it's been tonight, it seems that's not something that will probably happen, but if they do, they could probably catch him back up. And then behind them, they've already got 4 seconds back to Matt Vanderkrant and the rest of the pack. So it looks like they're sort of spread out a little bit at the front now, but there is still a big old battle pack from about 9th on back. Scotty Van Loon back, there's a big old pack of cars there.
Yeah, and they're starting to sort of get a little bit organised and arranged right now. It's, it's actually... No, Jeff Thomas, sorry, I was looking at Jeff Thomas. It is a 2-car pack now between Matt Vanderkrant and Travis Hunt. And I think Travis Hunt's sort of recognised the pace of the race and now is starting to go into a little bit of fuel saving. And I'm sort of seeing the same from Jeff Thomas as well. Jeff's just watching Dave and Paul battle each other ahead, and now he goes, I've got no one pressuring me from behind, just going to chill out here and save some fuel, whereas this group is just hectic. Again, from 11th through 22nd place is all the drafting that's going on. Somebody's just come out of the bus stop and had a really, really slow run, and down in 25th or so at the moment and falling.
Caparonis, yeah.
Caparonis, so he's just had a run out at the bus stop, potentially picked himself up a slowdown, now trying to recover.
Yeah, he's, I think I'll go and have a look. I assume he just got a little bit loose on his own, I would say. Yep, he's actually all on his own. He's just got on the gas a bit further. I know he's understeered a bit through the corner, and then, yeah, just gassed it up, and it's gone straight left on him. So good little save, actually, that was, to not go in the walls. We're looking at Chad Lewis here. Oh, having to go mega defensive into turn 2 after the chicane section, in behind Christian Smart and Chris Miller, recovering Chris Miller after his issues earlier on. And then we've got side by side behind them. Who's that? That is, that's Robert Christel and Craig Friend. It's Craig Friend, I think, trying to recover after that off through the first turn earlier on. And yeah, they're sort of, as you say, it looks like things are a little bit calmer now. We've started to get in the rhythm of the race. It took a little bit longer than maybe would have been ideal for some. It's this race. I feel like some people's race has been a little bit kneecapped off the line just because of some dramas. Obviously, Chris Miller's one of them. Craig Friend, another one. A few that have dropped back with issues. But what that doesn't change is Scott Gamble at the front of the field having a dream run right now. But Blake Delaney is not leaving him alone, and he will be bulk saving.
Oh, he's bulk saving. It's not even close how much he's saving right now. In terms of things, Delaney is really just chilled out, not going too much. Since coming off the bus stop, Delaney's actually closed a 10.5. It'll be 3/10 by the time they get to turn 1 in terms of the amount, and that's before he lifts off and starts to save some fuel. So I think Delaney actually didn't save that time by because he had just maybe dropped back a fraction further than he thought, maybe a bad run through the bus stop or through the infield and went, yep, I've got to close that margin back up. But that's what it's like, you know, you see and saw, you just got to read where the race is going, and then he jumps back on the clutch as they run down into turn 4.
Yeah, and we'll just have a little comparison here from the two of them as they go along. And I'd say he'll be fuel saving. Yep, off already. He's going, wow, so he goes through left-hander, clutches all the way through, and then back on it again into the corner. So I'm guessing now again he'll probably save again through here, probably lift off early. Let's have a look. Little bit, not too much that time, a little bit. But yeah, he's, as you say, he's just keeping that gap about 3/4 tenths, just enough that he'll probably, I don't think he'll save now because Scotty's actually managed to get a little bit of the gap there. But yeah, he's just keeping that gap about half a second thereabouts, you know, close enough that he's still getting a good draft without risking losing it. So I think, yeah, as you say, he's just sort of judging it where to fuel save where he can, and keeping that up. We'll see if he does it now. He's got to, that shows how big that draft is, how much he's closing. And yep, there he is, clutch again into the bus stop, all the way in. So yeah, he's in a very good spot here to gain a lot of strategic value in this next pit stop. So we'll see how this plays out, but it depends on how much fuel they take. So this is where the strategy comes in. You know, Scotty will know his fuel saving. He's obviously can see that. So you know, does he take a bit more to anticipate that he'll be able to take less in the next stop, or does he take less to try and break the draft of Blake? So it's depending what each of them do with the fuel numbers, we'll see how this all goes in the next.
Interesting update, by the way. David Kirby has just tagged on to Michael Whiting's draft this lap. So he was just on a second as they left the bus stop behind him, and as they crossed the start-finish line, it was down to about 0.6 of a second. 0.4 of a second, the draft, when you're just picking up the wisps of it right at the maximum drafting range where it just starts to kick in. So David Kirby's got pace at the moment. He's managed to drive back up to Michael Whiting. You might not see Michael Whiting fight that one too much. They might just elect to go that way. But Jeff Thomas is happy that that's happened because now he just gets to chill out. Saved a bunch of fuel. Matt van der Kraan and Travis Hunt, though.
Still dueling, yeah. I was going to say, I thought he was, as we saw before, Travis looked like he was happy to relax behind him, but I guess he must think he's got a little bit more pace in that car than Van der Kraan right now, and he's had to go at it into the first few corners, but not been able to get the move done. And again, that was only a few corners. They were only sort of side by side there for one corner, and you could already see, it's Van der Kraan here, very deep on the run onto the oval, and it's going to give Travis Hunt the run, and he should get it done, depending on what they want to do into the bus stop. But even just, again, that little run there of side-by-side, you saw how much the rest behind closed up. Just from a corner of side-by-side, they bled time. So it shows how quickly you can bleed time here if you're battling. And I think Van der Kraan is going to keep it, so Travis Hunt's frustrations on that continue for another lap, and we'll see if he has another go into turn 1.
Interesting to note was how much side draft actually played a factor into that one. For those of you who don't watch NASCAR and have heard whispers of what this side drafting thing is, effectively what you're trying to do is you're trying to put your nose close enough to the other car that you dump a whole bunch of air from your front as the air comes up and over the front left corner of your car. And Van der Kraan's actually going to dive to the pit lane. Yeah, there's a bunch of cars actually diving into the pit lane this time by. So Delaney's gone on because he's fuel saved. But you're going to see a huge chunk of cars coming to the lap. Remember we were saying that the maximum fuel range was about that 8 to 10 lap range? Well, we're on lap 10, end of lap 10, so they've all dived in. And interesting to note is where they're all going to pit. Remember, Vanderkran's right down at the end of pit lane. So everyone dives into their stall, get their first stop done, and just shy of a third race distance as well. So that will split things up nice and easily. So for Blake Delaney, he's done a lot of fuel saving in this stint. Be interesting to see what he does in terms of the fuel range. Gamble on this one, might elect to dump a lot of extra fuel in and try and pop himself back into one of those draft trains.
Yeah, well, I was looking at him there in the lane. It looked like to me to take a lot of fuel. Yeah, because I feel like the others have caught him a little bit. So I think he decided this stop, which you can't. Yeah, no draft train for him because a director was saying there because everyone else has pitted too. So he's got clear track again. But I think he's probably thinking, which is probably what I would do to be honest, if knowing that Blake has already fuel saved, he's already got that sort of advantage on this stint. You may as well take the hurt now, take the big dump of fuel now, and that way Blake won't hit the draft next to him. He's probably going to jump you. That's fine. That puts him on a better foot for the next stop. And then if there is a safety car, you don't need to take as much fuel, so you can gain back time that way. So I think that's probably the optimum way to go about it. We'll see how that plays out with what Blake does in his stop, which he should be at, which he's in the lane now to take his.
Yeah, so only able to go the one lap further, even though he's been in that tow for 10 laps. It was at the conclusion of lap number 10. And he's done one lap out on his own. That's how much fuel he's able to save. Probably save more than a lap, but not enough to go the additional laps. So it's probably in the range of, I would say probably about 1.5 laps worth of fuel out of that tank potentially. So Delaney will certainly have potential. Could have a longer stop, could have a shorter stop here. Depends what they're going to potentially do at this point in time. But it'll be an interesting old race from here because the strategies are now starting to kick in. Jeff Thomas, Chad Lewis, both in the lane as well. Just having a quick look through. I haven't seen anyone pick up a speeding and pit lane penalty yet either. So it looks relatively good in terms of stops for everyone. Gamble's going to bowl on by. So he's actually short stopped compared to Delaney. Delaney's actually taken a fair bit more fuel on, but he's already done the pain. Interesting thing to note will be where does everyone else feed back out? And have a look at Jeff Thomas, does the usual of the old underfill. Looking to grab himself a little. Oh, no, he's filled relative actually to the cars around him. But more fuel saved. The tricky part is, I get the feeling he will probably want to let Michael Whiting by, and Michael Whiting's going to be like, you can lead. I've done my job.
Yeah, that is the problem when you do that, when you sort of jump when it's not ideal, I suppose. And then that's always you don't want to, obviously, you can't really just stop to let them go, but sometimes you want to. I mean, there's always you could always do the classic, accidentally run wide. You're like, oh, whoops, I missed the corner. Well, you got to go through. That's a shame. Oh, well, I guess I'll just sit behind you now. So there's always that strategy if it gets a bit desperate. But we'll see how it goes. I'm assuming he'll try and sort of crack on for now, and he'll sort of see how that all plays out. But it's a bit more speed up. That's 4 of them all a bit spaced out. They're all just in the draft of each other, but not quite. Travis Hunt now has managed to clear Vanderkran considerably, but he might have short fuel. We'll see. Actually, I can see because I have my JRT that tells me pit times. I need to remember that now. So Delaney, looking at what my pit timers in JRT are telling me, and I was going to say, it looks like Dan's going to bring it up for us here. And that's what I thought so. Their pit times are not hugely different, but that's still a decent chunk of fuel. 4 seconds, that's a fair chunk of fuel difference between the two. That's as we say, that's going to help Delaney later on, and there's Jeff Thomas that confirms that he did indeed short fuel, and the others are all basically the same, but that's not too much. So but again, that will obviously affect the next one where he's going to take a longer stop. So he'll be trying to, I assume he'll be trying to get away if he can. I'm not sure he'll be able to with the draft, but he'll be trying to gap them to negate that effect in the next pit stop.
Well, what I'm just having a look at is that Paul Warwick's actually just fallen. He's just made a big error. Well, not a big error, but enough of an error. Just deep in at turn 1, and that's actually dropped the draft to David Kirby up ahead of him. So Warwick's now going to come unstuck from this pack and not really have much you can do about it, essentially. So now he's off on his own, but he was making a few mistakes in that first stint, doing effectively what he's just done down at turn 1 and being able to maintain pace. And then you've got this little battle pack where Robert Crisdale has underfueled his car quite massively, and that's worth a little bit of interesting eyeball on because he's made a fair bit of ground.
Yeah, he's jumped up a whole bunch of spots to be right behind Travis Hunt, who also had a bit of a shorter stop as well. So it's both of them had shorter stops on that particular round of pit stops, and but they're sort of gaining some track position for now, and I'll be hoping to use that to clear cars behind. But it's all going to be. It's all very now. It's all sort of that period where it's all up and down because everyone's taking different amounts of fuel, and the field's a bit sort of all over the place, and then it'll all come to a head obviously in the next stop where we can see where the actual lay of the land is. Oh, I think that's Chad Lewis in the wall out of the chicane, I believe. No, yeah, Chad Lewis, yeah. I was just looking at somebody else, and I see an ERT coming the fence on the right-hand side, and that is a big whack on the back end of the car there, and that was all on his own too. I've just gone back and had a look, and that is all on his own. Oh, yeah, and whacks straight in the wall. He's lucky that hit the rear end pretty square, so he might have got away with that without any steering damage, but that won't help the aero one bit. We can see here on replay. I think, yeah, just all on his own, hits the bump here on the exit. Yep, a bit too much curb. Whoop, goes the throttle, round she goes, and bang, straight to the fence. And that's a hefty old hit, that one.
Well, the benefit is, I mean, if he has got damage, we are now, past the point of no return in terms of the pit stop windows. So, I mean, he's got options. So it's not race over.
Oh,
effectively from there. And,
speaking of race overs.
Well, that was Chad Lewis actually all out of shape yet again, and Matt van der Kraan with a ton of damage on the front end of that car.
Yeah.
And rear as well.
Oh, turn one. Yeah, all on his own again. Oh, it's the curbs. Yep, the curbs. Yep. Oh, and then poor old Mark Poynton. I think he avoided major damage, but he did give him a clip there on the way through. And yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. Daytona, of course, now doesn't have those flat curves. They're the new 3D curves, and those ones right there are brutal now. As you can see, he's hit it, unsettled the car straight in the fence. Oh, Poynton did well, to be fair, to dodge him like he did. But they used to be obviously dead flat, those curves, so you could just run over them, no problem at all. Same with all the curves around here. But now they've got that little bit of 3D. It really is crazy how much that little bit of elevation can completely unsettle the car. So you've really got to be careful of stuff like that, or else that is what happens to them.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. There's actually a few guys that are worth talking about that have crawled their way inside this top 10, and Robert Crisdale was actually one of them. Stewie Hall is now another, and when that happened actually for Mark Point, he was inside the top 10. Have a look at the Dino Dino. Well, one of the benefits of racing on an oval that's got a road course in it is the racing tends to be significantly closer together. What does that do to the old heart rate? Well, it does bump it up a little bit, but currently the stress level's still down in the relaxed zone for Dean.
I still think that there's lies there. So, I mean, I don't think I'd be very relaxed going side by side through there. And he's in a really interesting battle pack here. They're all sort of mauling each other, and this is more of that.
Oh,
yep. That's more of that.
Oh, there we go, Doble.
Oh no.
So Brad Doble's just been ejected out from the front end of that one. Was that off the front end of? Was that Christian Smart?
I think so.
Has he done it on his own, or was there
No, Chris Miller.
There?
Chris Miller, yeah.
Miller?
Chris Miller, yeah. Bit of a helping hand from Chris there, but looks of it. Yeah. Chris just gives him a bump just on the initial exit. That's enough to unsettle it, and then round it goes. You'll see it here, just about there. Little bump round. Yep, unsettles the car. Round he goes. I'd imagine that'll be thought to be a pretty slam dunk penalty there for Miller for that one. But yeah, shame for Doble. He's running well in the top 15, and that has dropped him way back to 27th or something like that. So he is way back now. And that's going to be a mission and a half now to get a result out of that one.
Well, worthwhile noting as well, remember how that battle between our leaders was about 4.5 seconds, and the difference between their pit stop times was 4 seconds? Have a look at the margin now. It's ballooned from about 4.5 seconds after the pit stop. Gamble has managed to put 2.5 seconds on that one. So at this point in time, it's there's a little bit of a mistake for Delaney at some point in the middle there. So
yeah, well, I just noticed there. I just went over to him on the run into turn one, and he's actually still fuel saving, even though he's on his own. He was clutched pretty heavily in turn one there. So I guess he's trying to still play a bit of a fuel game here. I assume he's probably looked at it and gone, well, it's Scotty. I'm probably not going to outpace him in raw pace, so I'll try and do the fuel game potentially. Is maybe he's thinking. Yeah, see, lifted there again. Yeah, so I think he's still trying to play this fuel game. Because he obviously looked at it and gone, well, I don't think I'm going to quite beat him on raw pace, so I may as well just go for it with the fuel and see if I can do a very cheeky short fill and maybe get back in the draft or battle him that way.
That's all well and good, but you're going to save, what, a cup of fuel a lap? Well, a cup of fuel of a lap is worth about 0.1 of a second. He's giving up a second a lap to gain 0.1 second per lap in the pits. Let's say he is saving that, right? Let's be a little bit more here. If he's saving another half that, so let's say he's maybe saving 375 to 500 mil. That's still 0.2 of a second. He's not getting that.
No, I don't think it's going to end up working. And yeah, I was just looking at it just then. Yeah, so Dan's picked up on as well as Jeff Thomas has been closing over this stint because of Delaney fuel saving like he is. So all this is really doing is bringing in these guys behind. There's Michael Whiting going by Jeff Thomas as well. So finally, Whiting getting by like I'm sure Jeff wanted him to do way back at the start of the stint, but he's through now. So all this is really doing is bringing these guys in to battle for second. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, he will theoretically gain a bit of time, but I don't think it'll be enough, as that looks like that's the penalty there, Chris Miller, for that incident with Brad Dobles. They're side by side in turn one. Kirby threw on Jeff Thomas, and Thomas now drops from third to fifth, but that will be some lovely draft for him.
Yeah, and he won't be too upset with that one either. The big problem he's got, though, is that he's taken a significantly shorter pit stop than these guys and needed clear air and hasn't got it. So, look, it's probably not going to work out for Jeff. The thing for Jeff Thomas, though, is he's probably going to drop back into the clutches, and you probably stay away from the next pack. He might be okay there. And if he does that, then all around it's, thumbs up. You'll take that every day of the week. I just would keep half an eye on that Travis Hunt run as well, just to see if he is starting to close a little bit, and I don't think he is. He's losing touch with that next pack, and the guys that he's in and around at this point in time aren't really making any time on him. I believe I saw Stewie Hall doing some fuel saving quite aggressively as well. Pointing since that damage, sits now 10th spot and is pulling away from Scotty Van Loon. Scotty Van Loon's having a good night. Hello, what's he doing inside the top 15? That'll be his best run of the season.
Well, he's gone from 11th to 11th, so he's actually stayed very qualified. So he had a really nice qualifying, and he's actually managed to maintain it so far in this race. So it's all working out quite nicely for him if he can keep this up. So it's it's obviously he was in the packs earlier on, so I'm sure it wasn't as simple as it looks where he is now. But at the moment, he's sitting nicely in behind Mark Poynton and cruising along. And, if he just keeps this up, he should be on for a good one. Jamie McKnight as well, actually. He's just behind him, 25th to what we 13th now, because Craig Friend just passed him on this lap, but he's also having a good run. You got Darren Goosey as well, 27th to 17th at the moment. Obviously, some of these might be a bit out of skew because of pit stops. We'll see where that all ends up soon. But for now, we've got some people looking very good. As biggest mover is Rob Christel. There you go. He's up in P8, from 24. That is a fantastic run. But two teammates, both up 16. But obviously, as we said, that Christel did have that very short fuel, so he'll take more on his next stop. So he'd say he'll drop back, but he's doing very good pacing in behind Travis Hunt, so he should be gaining bolt time on the rest behind, so he should still be up many spots here, Scott.
Poynton's on a similar strategy, but he's got a touch more fuel in. But the difficulty for Poynton is, I don't know, he has got quite a few cars in touching distance of him, whereas Christel doesn't really, and that's the big changer in and around that one. Delaney has now been caught by this pack as well. They're now under a second to him, so Michael Whiting's probably just going to breeze by him on this next straight, and that will be that as far as all is said and done. Interesting to keep half an eye on a few of those battles that are going on up and around the field. I tell you what, you think Blake Delaney was fuel saving? Michael Whiting has just caught him and gotten into the draft, and now he's back into the fuel saving game. So that's not going to work out for Blake Delaney.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? As you say, he will gain time back, but he's just bled so much to Scotty Gamble. Unless he's waiting for a safety car, maybe he's hoping he gets a safety car to help him out. I'm not sure, but it seems a bit weird to be giving up that much time to him in these stints, because he's dropped off again more. He's dropping off the 145 that lap. So everyone else around him's doing low to mid 44s. So it's an interesting decision, but we'll see how it plays out, I suppose. And you should keep second, but Scott is just gone. He's absolutely out of here.
Yep, so you'll look back and say 10 seconds at this point in time, and we're only just past the halfway marker. to win a V8 supercar race by that much in this day and age is for him. That's about the limit. That's pretty common for him. That's probably the upper margin, but he's still got half the race to go as it currently stands. And Paul Warwick's done okay. He's driven, by the way, we were talking about him a little bit before. He made a mistake and fell off the back end of that pack. Well, he's actually driven his way back into the pack yet again. And Jeff Thomas was having a little bit of a peek at him, but it was a half-hearted peek. And, here I am. Pay attention to me. See if I can get a freebie here, but there wasn't much more in that one. Relative to Travis Hunt, he's fallen off just a little bit out of that pack. Stewie Hall had a really quick last lap and has actually made some time. So, I think everyone is now in that holding pattern. I think if we're going to see much of the race at the moment, it's probably back around 19. And there is actually one driver I do want to check in with a little bit on advice from the Hypersonic Racing team. It's Mario Reale.
Yeah.
He's +8 at the moment, so he's having a reasonably quiet night.
Still up spots there. Up 8 spots is always nice. So he's having a good run at the moment in 23rd. And behind him is the recovering Brad Doble as well. So having a good little run at the moment. Car looks clean, which is always good when you start in the pack. If you've got a clean car, that's always a positive. So car looks completely straight. So in a good spot, and in a good spot here to keep going forward in this race. And he's got Brad Doble behind him. And he's got Michael Stewart as well. In front of him, his teammate who started 15th and finished second, of course. And Scott McKeown, it's the whole lot of them all together, aren't they?
Yeah, Brad Doble's going to swing to the high side of him as he comes by the start-finish line, and I'd probably say Reale's probably not going to fight that one too much. You go, here you go, Brad. Go on, lead us, pull us up to that next pack if you can, please, would be the goal. And then Doble runs wide at turn 1, so relinquishes that one back to Mario. They have managed to make a little bit of time on Stewart just up ahead, so they are not too far away from buying into that one. McCune and Darren Goosey are having quite a lot of fun, though, and a little bit of duel that those two are going on with. And in terms of experienced campaigners, these two have both been around for an extendedly long time. Darren Goosey talks a lot about the fuel numbers over at the old Mate and Sons team, so he's the one doing a lot of the strategy. And look away, Scott McHugh, when you get to this point in the VOD, because if something goes wrong in the next minute or so, I'll have another angry letter on my desk in the morning.
Got to be quite a pile now for the amount of times that we've cursed him. But yeah, he's in behind Goosey at the moment, having a nice little battle with those two. But yeah, obviously remember as well, Michael Stewart's in behind recovering. Obviously that's why he's down the field at the moment, because he had that, got caught up in an instant in front of him. He had nowhere to go, and he's on the recovery path as well. A few people on the recovery path, same with Tim Nicol as well. He's down in 18, recovering 2 of those. Front end looks a bit worse wear than the last time I checked, so I don't know where he's possibly at instant, but I suspect he might have had another nudge or something somewhere on the line. But yeah, there's a few walking wounded around that are recovering, but they're all slowly doing it, as McKeon now going around the outside of Goosey, and Stewart behind him peels into the lane to get his final stop out of the way, and McKeon gets that done into turn 1. Nicely done. And I'm just actually looking at Craig Friend and Jamie McKnight are still going out into into the infield for that P12, and they're still duking it out. So that's, if anything at the moment, it's a lot of 2-car duels, none of these big packs anymore, but a lot of these little sort of one-on-one duels going on throughout the field as well.
I'll tell you what, Scotty Van Loon's actually still making ground too, so he is starting to really run down.
I think, sorry, I just saw in the background, there was a car off turn 2. Shit, it must be Randall, I'm guessing. Oh no, Gary Buckland.
Gary Buckland. Where's it been caused by? Oh, that's unfortunate. And the replay's going to tell the story as well. 4 down into turn 1. There's a bump there, and then Shane Randall tries to turn it back down and he's expecting the car on the outside to turn back across his nose, so he tries to leave more room, and Buckland's there. Another one of those, again, one of those really awkward ones that, again, you know, Buckland probably couldn't see. Let's have a look. I think you're right. Yeah, he's sort of, it's awkward, isn't it? It's, you know, you've got to try and leave the room, but you've still got someone on the inside, and that's a very awkward one there for all 3 of those drivers. But unfortunately, it means damage for Buckland and big damage for him there too. So that's a real shame to see there on that one. But that's incident there, and I think is that Blake Delaney in the lane. Is he dropping down?
time. He knows not to. Oh wow, okay, so they've all, yeah, he's immediately trying to get back past Jeff Thomas. So yeah, apparently in turn one, they all went by. So interesting. I wonder it's a weird one. He's still, yeah. I wonder what's going on. This seems really bizarre to me. That he's fuel saving this much. I mean, it can't be that bad that you got to get freight trained by 3 cars. It seems like a very weird decision. Yeah, his 3 teammates, here they come, and they'll go down. Or did he just go deep? Hang on, let's have a look. No, yeah, he just, wow, what is, very strange.
Something's going on. There's something more in that for sure.
Yeah, it has to be, because that's, yeah, he literally just jumped out of the way the second that they got close. There's something going on. There has to be something in the background, because that is very bizarre stuff there. Yeah. Yeah, I've looked the onboard here, and yeah, it looks like he just runs it in. Maybe runs it a bit deep, but I mean, I don't think that shouldn't mean that you just completely jump out of the way of everybody like that. Very strange, very strange. I'm pretty puzzled, Scott. I can't really explain what's going on with Blake Lane at the moment.
Well, the pace has recovered now. He's in that train, so yeah. Look, I'm not gonna. I'm uncertain about what's going on there as well, just as much as you are. What it is allowing, though, is that Travis Hunt's made a touch of ground on them on that most recent lap, and the other thing benefit for Travis Hunt's actually he's going to dive to the lane. So he was 4 seconds or so back off that train, and now he's diving into the lane just to get away from the shenanigans that are going on. And he'll see if he can get his pit stop out of the way. And now Jeff Thomas, well, that might be enough to get him out of that train too. Yeah,
that might lose the drive for him, unfortunately. But yeah, just a little bit deep into turn 1, and that was that. So I think he should, as long as he has a good infield section, he should keep in the draft just. But yeah, that was not ideal. It was, yeah, Travis Hunt in the lane, and who else? The Christian Smart, James Knight, Jason Fewens all taking their final stop now. As we head into the back half of this race.
Oh, just about got that car outside the boundaries of the track, and then he was in a whole lot of trouble. In fact, he might have touched the grass. Look at the fronts locked. He was in the grass. He just barely got it pulled up before he got all 4 wheels in the grass. If he'd gotten all 4 in the grass, he would have dropped out of that train for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was a good save to keep him from losing too much time as we see the drivers coming out. Travis has come out in pretty much, actually he's come out in clean air. He's come out between packs between Stephen Varga and Glenn Corbett, so he's in a nice little spot there to put in some times and see what he can do. As Michael Stewart actually just puts in the fastest lap, 43.1, so I'm going to guess that was probably in a draft, and yep, looks like it was indeed. But he is on the, again, still on the march, trying to recover from his instance earlier. And I see Matt Vanderkrant in front of him too, is also another one, of course, recovering after his instance as well. So a lot of stories that unfolded tonight. It's got a lot of woe, tales of woe, and a lot of ones of valor as well.
Yeah, well, it's interesting as well because Darren Crosby in that pack. So there's where Michael Stewart is a really, really interesting battle at this point in time, because him and Darren Crosby pit on at the end of lap 20. Chris Miller is just in behind him, pit at the end of lap 19. Albeit, I think there was a drive-through penalty for Chris Miller somewhere. So that might have been him actually serving his drive-through penalty. So that clears that one out. Mario Reale and Brad Dogle are immediately in behind that one. And then you've got Jason Fewens. So that pack, the bulk of the drivers are actually in that pack. Chad Lewis is the exception. Actually, no, Chad Lewis came to get his damage repaired. So everyone that's in that battle pack has actually done their final stops.
Yeah. So so they're all out of position obviously at the moment because they've all done their stops. So that'll be very interesting to see where they end up, because there's again, it's as we say. I mean, Vanderkrant had his incident, Chad Lewis had his incident, Michael Stewart had his problems, Chris Miller there as well had his problems. So lots of people in that pack had their issues throughout this race. So it'll be interesting to see where they end up, despite all the dramas they've had over this race. But yeah, they're looking all right for now, just plodding along, although Chad Lewis may be having to defend here a little bit, as that is Craig Friend now, takes the fast lap, 43 flat. Going to guess, again, probably another lovely toe, and he sure was, but he takes that now. That's a car coming out of the lane as well. I believe, is that Scott McCune? Yes, it is. He's going to tag on to the back of this pack nearly, just about. Yep, just about. He's also going to join in, so another one joins the train. And then we go another is Michael Stewart there going up the inside of Darren Crosby as well, gets the move done. Crosby not fighting that one there at all. And yeah, they keep going on. So a juicy little pack there, but you'd think, again, it's the same what we were saying before, you're in a big pack, but right now they need to not bleed time. They need to just be going as fast as they can, seeing the best laps they can to gain time back on everyone ahead. So getting really feisty right now is not going to help them just yet. They need to sort of work together for now and then see what they end up later on, and then they can start figuring it out.
I'm just having a David Nash as well. By the way, David Nash has just had a little bit of contact with Travis Hunt, I think, on this lap. So he's gone tumbling down through the standings, and Delaney slots back in at the tail end of that pack as well. So this will tell the story. There was a hole there, and Travis can get off over the lap for that one.
Yeah. Oh, and if I was going to ask, that's a shame for him, because if he'd straightened that out, he would have not been able to do a redress. But if he does get pinged, it'll be an actual penalty now, because he lost it completely. And now let's have a look up the inside. Yeah, I don't think it's quite enough overlap on that one. So I think that'll be, probably a drive-through, sadly, for Travis Hunt, who's having a strong race. And it's a shame for him and for Dave Nash as well. So shame to see, but we'll see what RC do on that one. But either way, what doesn't change is the 14-second gap that Scott Campbell has in front. He has just absolutely walked away at the moment from this one.
Yeah, I just don't understand that. They've just handed him a free kick.
Yep. Yeah, it's as we say, I can't really fathom it. What Blake Delaney's pace was. A post-race penalty for Stephen Gretsch, I believe. And a post-race as well for 501, which is Shane Randall as well. So I think that was that incident we saw.
That was the incident down at turn 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was Gretsch that was on the inside that wiggled across the other side and nudged 501, which was Randall. And and then that triggered the incident with Buckland, and Buckland around on the inside. So that's the incident that is being discussed there on the radio as it's currently laid out.
Yeah, Gamble in the lane, so he now gets his last stop done, and everyone else behind in that pack continues by the looks of it, apart from, I believe, Jeff Thomas. He's also in the lane, I would say. Yep, he is. So those guys all getting their stops done. Jeff Thomas will be the cue here for how, although actually, no, sorry, he's got to take more fuel, so he's not really going to be the cue just yet, but he'll at least get a rough idea of how far behind they are from Gamble. I'm going to say quite a bit, I would imagine. But okay, yep, so apparently Dan telling me that they're on fuel with Scott's on fuel, these guys, bar a couple of seconds maybe, so it should give us a good lay of where they are.
Okay, so updates just came through. So that incident we just saw between David Nash and Travis Hunt play on, and the reasoning behind it is very, very important. And Race Control have actually given that one in the sim at this point in time. The major reasoning was the fact that there was sufficient net code that the drivers would not have made contact. And look, it was definitely tight, but Travis Hunt, I can see what they're saying, because Hunt held his line very close to the curb.
Yeah. I did see that when we look at the replay. I did see that it looked like there was a decent chunk of net code involved, so I had a feeling that might also play into it. So and that's, it's, you obviously, as you say, as we've said before, it's what you look at as race control. You look at, what if there's any net code, is that affected?
Something happened to Varga, I think. No, it's just a wobble. It's a wobble.
Yeah. But you've got to obviously look at the net code. If there's any of that.
It's not a wobble. Oh, that's worth a relook.
Look, I need to look back myself now at this one.
It's Shane Randall running wide at turn 1 on lap 26. Something really odd has happened to Shane Randall. Really odd.
Oh wow!
So that,
okay.
That is turn 7, I think it's called, as they come back off of the infield, and then this is him rejoining.
Oh. That's what is going on there. That is bizarre. Alright, so he's in behind. That is, it's very strange. Robert is in front of him, and then, oh boy, he's got spooked by him braking, and he is shot so deep. Oh my goodness. Oh, jeez.
That was Varga. That was Varga. So
goodness.
Varga was the car that had to take avoiding action down at turn 7.
And then he's oh my god. Yeah, so he just looks like he got spooked by the braking, and he's completely offline, and then Varga's come in, and there's his car that's what. Oh my goodness. I mean, imagine that. You're going through there, you're just cruising, and you're like, this is nice, and then where's that guy doing? Where's he coming from?
I'm going to defend Shane Randall a little bit, because under braking, did you actually notice he was straddling both sides of the apron?
Yeah, and once you do that, that affects the car a lot, which explains, why he could not pull it up.
Yeah, the car was just not able to, he wasn't able to put his foot on the brake, because if he did, he would have just spun it immediately. So for those of you who are watching along and going, what do you mean by apron? Well, the apron at a NASCAR circuit, see that double yellow line, that double painted yellow line at the bottom of the oval? That denotes where the banking stops and the flat part of the racetrack begins. And the flat part is what we call the apron. So he had one tyre either side of the yellow line, one tyre on the banking, one tyre on the flat. Means you have a race car that has a very disrupted aero package, because you've got a bunch of air flowing under the car that normally wouldn't be able to flow, which gives you less downforce, and you've got your tyres not set in the road properly. So putting your foot on the brake, he would have just spun. So that's how he ended up out there. Look, his recovery effort, I'm not defending that. I'm not touching that one.
I liked the rejoin back into the pit lane. I like that. That was just to add to it.
He was looking for a marker. When you come back from that side of the curve, there's no marker.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you're sort of blind in there. I get that. Yeah, I get the gist, but still, it's a sort of a self-imposed sort of penalty to add on to the whole drama as a whole. So what an adventure. I mean, hey, at least if anything with this race, you can say, look, I had quite an adventure later on in the race, nearly going across to meet the other side of the track. But while this has all been going on, obviously Gamble pitted and Whiting and Co also pitted, and Delaney. So Delaney has come out back in front of them, but only just. So all of that fuel saving, or whatever he's been doing, just basically put him back to where he was. And if he'd just gone flat chat, he would have probably been ahead more. So I'm not, Jay, as we said, I'm not sure if there's more to it. There's been some weird behaviour throughout this race there, just to swerve. It's something we could hopefully discuss with him to see what the plan was there, because it's been a odd race there. But either way, Gamble, unsurprisingly, still has a lovely lead on them. It's obviously, I think it's a little closer than it was before the stops, but it's still a big old gap he's got on the rest of them. Looking back in the rest of it, Paul Warwick and Jeff Thomas are still together, so they still haven't been separated. They're now on their own, just the two of them now battling for that last place in the top 5, so it'll be a good battle to watch in these closing laps. Travis Hunt behind them, he's 7th, so he's having a good run there. Stephen Varga is now in 8th, so he's having a good run in the top 10. And Robert Crisdale has managed to hold on in the top 10, 24th to 9th. It's a great run so far for him. And then Damien Cairns rounds out 10 behind him, with Stuart Hall in close pursuit in this one.
There's going to be a few interesting battles, particularly this paddle pack towards the tail end of the 10.
Yep.
And then basically the rest of the field split up into about 3 to 4 car trains, pretty much the rest of the way through the field. So that's really interesting to keep an eye on. By the way, Travis Hunt is going to go for a move down into turn number 1, which will be worthwhile keeping an eye on. Just up ahead of these guys, got ahead of Stephen Varga, and now Varga's trying to get that thing pulled up, rotated.
It's actually, I think he's defending actually from Varga here. So he was ahead of Varga, and then Varga's actually come at him, which I thought he had a gap. So I wonder if he had a mistake at the bus stop, maybe. No, he didn't know. Varga just was in the draft rider. So he's actually ahead, but he's now got, with the draft, he's got Varga, Crisdale, Cairns, and Stuart Hall all in line, ready to have a go. So it should be a feisty little battle here for this position in the back end of the 10th. The rest of the race was that 5-car battle, so it's a good little battle there. And then meanwhile, I'm just looking back at some other recoveries. Tim Nichols 14th now after his issues in this race, and then I think Michael Stewart, he's up into 19th now from 5th, obviously after his getting caught up in other instances, so he's back in the top 20, which is a pretty good recovery from him. So it looks like, depending, unless it's a safety car, I suspect that's probably about as far as he's going to get, but still, good recovery from him. Vanderkran also 21st after his issues, so he's recovered too, and Chris Miller 23rd. So this is the 3 I'm seeing there that have all recovered from their issues. So, still top 20, still going to get some points out of it, despite, some less than optimal races for them.
Yeah, and it's a long old night when you come to Daytona. Lots of drafting, lots of trying to follow the car ahead of you, and I haven't seen a lot of bump drafting. I was expecting to see maybe a little bit more, but I guess the new damage models probably put a little bit paid to that. At the moment, I can tell you Varga's going to have another go at Travis Hunt on the run down to turn number 1, which is one of the fights inside that top 10 placings. And he stalled out as he got to the outside there. Is Hunt going to fight it? No, Hunt's going to yield. And I wonder if Varga's going to run a touch deep. He is going to run a touch deep at turn 1. And Hunt's going to maintain in there. And I think what they're trying to do at this point in time, if they just swap for another lap or so, they'll drop Crisdale in behind them, and then they can go back at it. But if they keep squabbling, it just keeps Robert Crisdale in, and Crisdale's licking his lips and saying, "How about it, boys?" So
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because you do that, you try and be tactical to try and get away, or if you Travis Hunt, you sit behind and you just kind of wait until the optimum time later on to just go for that final move on Varga, and that's going to be how he's playing it. It looks. I think he knows he's probably got a little more pace, but thanks to that draft, it's going to be near impossible for him to drop Varga. So he's probably going to have to work with him to get away from the others. But we'll see how he goes. I mean, it's how long we got? About 5 to go. So we'll see. He either will go for it again here, or he's just going to sit behind and sort of play the waiting game until later on in this race for in a few laps to make that move. And I think he might be just sitting there for now. I think he's just happy to sit there. So I think he's going to try and wait until about a lap or two to go, and then he'll probably have a go and see if he can hold it for that last lap where it matters. Although that was very slow there, and if anything, he's letting. Oh, did he just get a slow down?
Some sort of issue.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Oh wow. So apparently he's got to slow down from way back, which is why he was slowing before the chicane. Oh, that's so now he's gone from as quick as that. He's gone from 5th down to P10. 11. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So he is just about still in the draft to Stewie Hall now.
Yeah, I think it was before the bus stop. Yeah, because he slowed before then. So I'm trying to figure out. It's hard to get a slowdown anywhere else but the bus stop. So let's have a look here.
It's not tight enough in there to pick that up. Unless he's
there,
no, because
didn't look that bad.
The cones denote where you can first get
Unless it was that.
That's it.
Yeah,
that might have done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you also noticed on his webcam, that's when the mouth actually dropped open as well.
Yeah.
It was on the. I was looking at what's he doing? What's he talking about? And it was the mouth dropping open because he picked himself up a slowdown from there. So that explains his expression.
Yeah. It explains the shock to where did that come from? Yeah, that's such a shame. And as you saw, it was just half a car maybe too low, and then he gets pinged. And obviously made worse, he had to go through the bus stop just to extend that slowdown even further. So that's a real shame. I didn't realise it was going to be that severe, to be honest. I didn't realise that it was that severe going below the apron there. But well, now I know as well. So I guess cheers to Travis for letting me know too, in a way as well.
I was actually going to give you an anecdote. You weren't here last week, but for viewers who were, and including Dan behind the scenes, there was a big old moment he had down on the run into turn 1. He basically just picked up the brakes and just went straight on at turn 1. Found out why that was. He was having issues. He was looking up trying to get his air conditioning unit to turn on just above his sim rig, because the sim rig the room that he's in gets a little bit hot, and even in winter apparently, which is interesting to note. But he said, I was trying to fiddle with the air conditioning unit, then I looked up and I was at the 50 and I knew I'd already blown the braking. So
that's not ideal. You don't want to have that. You don't want to into the corner and then suddenly corner, and then you're like, oh boy, I'm in trouble. So that's never ideal. But they're still battling away. Varga now has actually been passed by Robert Frisdale now. So we're going to replay up here for this. Tim Nicol. Yep. Let's have a look here. This moment, I'm guessing. Slow down, right, okay, yep. Oh, yeah, he's gone in very deep, and that's a guaranteed slow down there. And that's always the worst, because at that point in the corner, there's nothing you can do. You can't get that stopped in time, and you're just going to get a slow down, and that's just how it is. Right. Nice pick up Dan there with the headlight flash and wondering what was going on. So good pick up from Dan, our usual hawk-eyed race director. Broadcast director. Sorry, director. We'll go
he doesn't give out the penalties here, Hinsey. I know you've popped a few from him over the time.
I have, yeah. No hard feelings though, Dan.
That's this was the overtaking and swinging around that's going on in this battle pack once again on the run in at turn number 1 on that lap. I can tell you, there's still going on.
Yeah. Yeah, Varga just got back by again into the bus stop, so. Yeah, I think there's a bit of strategy. I feel there's a bit of strategy here. I think Frisdale might be trying to play this to be in the right spot at the right time as well, to get this done. And as we know with the racing here at Daytona, a lot of it is that you've got to be in the right place. In these packs, you've got to be in the right place at the right time at the line to get the position, and that's what matters. So you can be leading now all the way through. It doesn't really matter. If you're not in the right spot at the flag, then you're not going to keep the spot.
Well, they're all backing up. Actually, go back to that pack, because they're all actually backing it up.
Yeah.
I just thought Damien Cairns had a big lift out. He had an opportunity to swing to the high side. of Robert Crisdale and have a go at him, and Travis Hunt didn't lift out. Every other driver in this pack lifted out. Travis Hunt goes the long way around at turn 1, picks up Stewie Hall, and Stewie Hall was just not quite as close enough as I think Travis Hunt would have liked. He's going to try and get it back to the inside. Little bit of a late old fake, gets up the inside, but the drive off of turn number 4 comes right out and around the outside, and they are both going through a pair of rear Goodyears like you would not believe.
Oh, that was a big old look, and credit to both of them for getting through that one without contact. That was well played from them both, but he gets it done. That's 2 of the spots back, so he's looking in. This is a good spot to be in right here. He'll have a double draft, so if he can play this well going to this final lap coming, I think there's 2 to go at the line.
2, yeah, 2.
Yeah, if he can play this right, he'll be in the perfect spot to potentially get to the front of this pack at the line when it matters. So we'll keep an eye on that. I was just looking back somewhere behind. I was battling further back as well. Chris Miller is in a juicy pack there with who's that? Fewens, Van der Kran, Scott McCunis, a lot of recovery. Chad Lewis as well. A lot of recovery guys in that pack. That's for P20 right back in the top 20. But yeah, this will be a juicy run here for the back end of 10. Everything else is pretty stable. Blake Blaney is still second in front of his teammates. That's all stable. And Warwick and Jeff Thomas are also still together, just going at it each other. I'd imagine Jeff's just going to wait till the last lap, although I say that. Yeah, he is. He's just sitting behind him and waiting for the last lap. So, yeah, plenty of juicy battles all throughout the field.
Driver of the day recommendations, boys. I'm looking for them, and I don't know where to look, to be honest with you. I think about the only one that's of note and worthy is probably Crisdale, as Travis Hunt swings his outside and takes one more spot back off Crisdale. So with 2 to go, Travis Hunt moves into 2nd spot in this train now. And I still think Crisdale's saving fuel. I really think he's underfueled that car by a lot. Yeah,
it definitely, I mean, well, again, as we saw, he went very short fuel in the first stop. I mean, expecting him to drop back, and he didn't really seem to drop back very much. So that, to me, would, suggest that he's possibly short fueled it again in the hope that he'd be in a draft and he could just sit there and fuel save. So he's in the optimum spot too.
I think Cairns is in a hole. Cairns has just dropped out of this pack. Ooh. Stuart Hall's just barely gripping on by both fingernails to the toe from Robbie Crisdale. But Damien Cairns might be in a hole in terms of fuel. We have got ourselves about 8 kilometres to go right now. And, it's...
Yeah, I'm just looking to turn 1. He was lifting really early into turn 1. I was looking to see... I can't... My replay's kind of bugging out, but I think you're right. Because there's not a slowdown at the bus stop. Yeah, no, I think you're right, yeah. Yeah, I think he's in a bit of trouble here because he lifted big time to turn 1 on that last lap. We'll have a look here, and I think it's Travis Hunt having a look at Varga ahead of him. Let's have a look.
There was no saving there.
No, not there, no.
So unless there was a mistake on the run down to through turn 1, he's going to pick up a little bit of curb on the inside of the pass stop. We're going to come out of the final corner. We are on the final lap for our race leader, as Scott Gamble's already on the run down to the first horseshoe, as 2nd through 4th are now on their way down through turn number 1. So difficulties late on. You sometimes got to roll a little bit of a fuel dice and have a look at Travis Hunt. He's not waiting. The problem is, when you come out of that bus stop on the last lap, do you want to be in the lead of the pack? And I don't necessarily think you do. So it's going to be a 2-way fight at the top end of this one, and Hunt's going to slot back in. Varga will lead them out at turn 1. Cops a whack for his trouble, and the whole pack tightens back up. And Crisdale might have dug himself out of a hole, and now he might just have the fuel he needs to fight with.
Yeah, this could be a really interesting run. He's right there, so he's right in the toe of these two to possibly get them both on the run to the line if you can place cards right. And Van Loon. Oh yeah, big damage for Van Loon in turn 1. I'm gonna guess he's nosed the wall, and that's a shame because he was having a really good run as well. He had a really quiet, lovely run tonight, and then he's just gone deep. It was actually with his teammate, so McKnight. It looks like he's gone outside to dodge him, and then just got on the power and straight to the fence. That's a real shame.
Righto, well, final lap. We are on the run to home. Scott Gamble is out of the bus stop, and he is clear, well and truly clear. Literally just got to keep it on the island as he runs down what is close to a straightaway for him. It's going to be another win. It's going to be another win by some margin. 14.5 seconds, 14.7 seconds as the run to the flag is about to finalise itself for 2nd place on the road, though. Blake Delaney has it over David Kirby. It's been a long time since David Kirby's been back on the podium, and he will celebrate that one and really, really enjoy it. He's going to get a run. I don't think he's going to get there. He's going to run out of time, but it's going to be Fishy Motorsports 2, 3, 4 on the road, and I think Delaney might have been just out of fuel as they got to the line. Saved the right amount for him. And Jeff Thomas has a crack at Paul Warwick on the final lap of the race. Gets to his outside. Travis Hunt versus Stephen Varga. Well, Hunt got the draft. However, the shortest way around the racetrack's on the bottom, and Chris Dale will come back and have a crack. Won't quite get there. So it'll be Travis Hunt home in 7th from Varga in 8th, and Chris Dale inside the top 10 in 9th. Tim Nicol is out of juice and got damage as well. Oh, scrambling to get around him.
Oh, wow. He got there in the end, though. Just got there. But yeah, that's a lot of people obviously did again, and that's something as well, being Daytona. You can, a lot of people relying on, I'll be in a train and I'll save that fuel back, and maybe not quite getting that run for later after.
Yeah, they're all going to trickle home down at the bottle end as well. That's Brad Doble just shot through the front end of that shot. So that means we're home outside the 20s. Jim Caparonis in a fight to the line as well. We'll get that one running done. Halil Cesar gets home in 33rd, and 34th in Robbie Griffiths is the next car on the road as well. So the bulk of the field now done. The final 2 cars will cross the line, be 36th and 37th. I believe David Nash has ended up in the barriers at turn 1. I think he's had enough of this circuit for the night.
Yeah, I mean, after his helping hand earlier on, probably not the ideal night for him. And this is Van Loon at the end, as you see, just went wide. A bit too deep, and yeah, just on the gas, a pinch too soon, and just that slow spin, it's the worst. That kind of spin is that slow spin, and as soon as it starts, you know you're in trouble. You're like, I can't, this is like, I'm done. I can't do anything about it now. And unfortunately, yeah, straight at the wall, and yeah, big damage to the front. Real shame. As we said, he'd had a really nice run, qualified well, ran well, ends up 19th, so he still gets in the top 20, but shame to end that way.
Yeah, and how they finished out on track. Scott Gamble from Blake Delaney and David Kirby are going to round out your podium. Kirby's going to be happy with that one. Finally gets another podium, and that is good to see. Michael Whiting home in 4th will keep his championship podium hopes alive. From Paul Warwick registering one of his better races of the season thus far. Jeff Thomas returns from holiday, returns inside the top 10. Probably be out of contention in terms of points until those drop rounds kick in. Travis Hunt home from Stephen Varga, Robert Crisdale and Stewie Hall running out your top 10. Or just heard something from Tim Nicol in the 23 machine, so that may not have been fuel as we thought. 11th on back is going to be Damien Cairns from Jamie McKnight. Cairns, by the way, did drop out of the draft in that final lap of the race. He ended up 3.2 seconds off of the rear bumper of Stuart Hall. So he did just about run out of gas. He got home, though, didn't lose a spot to Jamie McKnight, who was the next car on the road. Tim Nicol, though, had a good qualifying performance. Got home in 13th, unfortunately for him, -9 positions overall for the night. Craig Friend from Mark Poynton in the next 2 spots to round out your top 15. Dean Flavelle from Michael Stewart. Stephen Kennedy and Scotty Van Loon, we noted about his damage. And then Jason Fewens to round out your top 20, Hinsey.
Yeah, and then next up it's Darren Crosby from 29th to 21st. Then you've got Chris Miller going from 9th to 22nd with his issues in that race. Scott McEwen ends up 23rd, goes up 10 spots, so a good little run for him. The curse didn't strike this time, thank goodness. No angry letters for us this time around. Matt Van der Kraan ends up 24th after obviously his issues earlier in the race. Shame for him after looking strong early. Brad Doble also having to recover, 25th in the end. Chad Lewis, another one. Many stories of woe in this one tonight. Chad Lewis, another one to add on to that one. Darren Gozzi ends up in 27th. Mario Reale ends up in 28th for Jim Cavaronis in 29th. Stephen Gretsch rounds out your top 30. Glenn Corbett ends up going to 31st from the back, from the pit lane start, sorry, so a nice little run for him. Christian Smart next on the list with Halil Cesar, just getting Robbie Griffiths at the line. Gary Buckland next on the list, then it's David Nash with another tale of woe for him. And then one lap down, Chris Blanchard, Shane Randall, and Craig Sharp. Only one retirement tonight, and that was Paul Burns, the only one. So yeah, good to see, the entire field bar one car finish. So that's a great sign. And yeah, it's a great racing tonight, as usual. Some great strategy as well, bit of drama, the usual fun stuff that we see in the series. Just a lot of fun to watch as usual. And, again, another great race this.
And we're just going to have a check-in with the issue that Tim Nicol had on that final lap of the race, because he said he finished 13th, but there was a little bit of discussion over how that happened, because I believe he was in a fight with Jamie McKnight. So this is the run out at the bus stop for the final time. That's not McKnight slowing on the top side of the track. That's Jamie McKnight trying to offer no draft to Tim Nicol. So they were in a stoush, and then McKnight comes down the track.
Wow, yeah, that's a big hit.
I think that was Chris Blanchard that cut his way through as the lap down, so that was not a position.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, yeah, he's a bit too far back to be able to see, unfortunately, but yeah. Oh, here we go. Good old FOV, yeah. Yeah, I think looks like him. Yeah, I think so. Trying to use him as a guide here. Oh, it's
he come down. He come down a side draft and he come down a fraction.
Yeah,
so what's happened is what's happened is Tim Nichols tracked away from the double yellow lines as he's come off of the banking, and at the same time, McKnight's come down a side draft. So he hasn't read the movement up the track, and he's considered that he's going to be painting that yellow line, which is a natural understanding. But I imagine they'll probably reverse that position if they can from race control, because that would make sense. Either way, on to our post-race interviews, and look, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up, and it's going to be with the driver who finishes on the podium for the first time in a little while. David Kirby manages to grab about one of these a season, as has been the going rate, mate, but tonight it was about getting aggressive early, setting yourself in the right position, and then just making sure you made no silly moves.
Yeah, g'day, Scotty. Thank you. It's good to be talking to you guys once again. It's been a while, but the start of the race was pretty hectic. 3-4 cars wide in front of you. I think lap 2 or 3 or something. So, to sort of get through cleanly, it was good. And then the main objective, was to, if we can just get up to the, stick together as a team and work together, and it's paid off in the end.
Mate, in terms of things, look, that opening sort of lap or so, it was just chaos everywhere. It was just about settling yourself, really looking for the hole and trying to be the right amount of aggressive. Daytona's difficult. The amount of draft that was kicking in tonight, how was the fuel saving going on? Were you able to save as much as you thought you would be able to? Or?
Yeah, look, saved a ton. I think the last lap I went full noise, but pretty much just saved every lap from the start. Once we sort of got through that little start couple of laps and everything sort of single file a little bit, then it was a case of, all right, let's knuckle down, let's save as much as we can, and that'll help us down at the back end of the race.
Mate, in terms of the championship, it's the first time we've seen you outside the top 10 in a good while. Actually, no, it was maybe the start of last season, the season before. I think it might have been season 18. You had that really, really rough start of the season. You've been in that top 10 for such a long period of time. It's been good to see you sort of returning to form this season eventually. It took some time to get going there.
Yeah, look, we were just talking about it in the green room. It's, just trying to find time to practice and put in the laps. And as you know, anybody that drives these cars, the more you put in, the more you get out of it. So just trying to find a bit of time. Obviously, we do the official on a Tuesday night. That's pretty much the extent of practice I've been able to get in lately. But they've been full-on races as well, so they've been a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm sort of there or thereabouts the 10. I think obviously tonight will should move me up a few spots, which will be good, leading into this back half of the season.
Mate, finally, floor's all yours to any sponsor shout-outs and thank yous you'd like to give.
Yeah, I just a big shout-out to the boys at Fishy Motorsports, especially, Blake and Mike, and a really big shout-out to Paulie tonight as well. He's had a really rough season for season 20, and for him to put it into P5 tonight. So, well done, Paulie. For our team sponsors, West End Motor Group, Infinity Designs, DC Shades, Battery Warehouse, Airlie Beach, and Precision Sim Training. And, of course, a big shout-out to CLS Constructions, North Queensland, and Simon at Jinx Shifters.
Mate, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll hope you'll be making a little bit more of a regular appearance like this. One a season. I think you can do a bit better than that, Dave.
Oh, look, I'd love to get another one. I like coming up and talking to you boys at the end of the race. So, hopefully we can grab another one within these next 5 rounds, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Mate, it's just good to have you back in the podium booth. Enjoy the rest of the night. Celebrate that one.
Not a problem. Thanks, Scotty. See you, boys.
See you, brother. we'll take one step further forward in terms of the rostrum so that we can ask a man a question that we've been wondering for about the last 20 laps or so. Blake Delaney, we understand you fuel saving whilst you're in behind Scotty Gamble, but you carried on with it. You were very, very keen on using as little of the juice as you possibly could tonight.
Yeah, just to try and clear the boys, but mate, it was never going to catch Gamble. The only way to catch him would have been with a safety car and try and hang on to him again, but he was flying. Kudos to him. He did a great job. Obviously, super fast.
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of the season, it's starting to all come together. I mean, you know, you've been right consistently there on the podium. You and Michael last week, you and Dave again this week. The team infrastructure and the team attitude that's going on at the moment, it sounds like, just talking to Dave, you guys are really, really enjoying yourselves, and it's all come together. It's tough to get a team to go in the direction that you want to, but when you find it, you know, those team relationships, they really sort of last.
Absolutely. We've got an awesome attitude within the team. Everyone helps everyone else out. There's no selfishness. Well, maybe one bit of selfishness. You can all guess who that is. No, I won't say that. That's just a joke. But he'll have a bit of a muck around with that. But no, the team's awesome, mate. There's a lot of people that just have a lot of fun. We do a heap of stuff together. We have meetups. We chat online a fair bit. We're on most nights. 24 coming up this weekend, so should be a heap of fun. There's 3 cars in that, so yeah, we'll have a blast.
Yeah, man. I mean, that sort of gives you an understanding of the size and everything that goes on in and around the background. As for you at the moment, you know, last season you didn't seem like you really found yourself. It's sort of just been the last sort of couple of weeks that all of a sudden you're really starting to get the pace back out of this car again. Has something changed in and around the setup for you?
I don't want to sound silly, but I struggle with work commitments, travel a fair bit for work, so makes it really difficult to get any practice in. But this last 2 weeks, I've got a couple of officials in, so it's helped a little bit, which has been really good. I think if I can practice, I can be on the pace, but if there's no practice, then I'm a little bit of a struggle. But tonight, look, Scotty was just unbelievably fast, or believably fast, because he's a sensational fast driver.
Mate, in terms of the season at large, I mean, going very, very well. You've been stringing the results together. It's pretty comfortable in second place in the championship at the moment. Is there any absences coming up that you're aware of, like you've already spoken about?
Yeah, I've got a bit of travel coming up, so there's a good possibility I'll miss probably 2 or 3 races, to be honest. But which is unfortunate. It makes it difficult. It's never been a great thing being able to try and go for championships for me. It's always just races. And work commitments, so it is what it is. But this week I was a little bit sick all week, so had a bit of practice and had a bit of fun, and can drive up the front when I get the practice in.
Mate, finally, next week out, we're heading to Monza. It's a lot more point and shoot. Comfort levels heading into banging over the curbs at both the chicanes there.
Yeah, that should be awesome. Another racetrack where there's a lot of drafting too, so I think everyone will have their low wings out, even though it's a fixed set. It'll be a heap of fun. Looking forward to that one.
Mate, finally, all the floor is yours to make any shout-outs and thank yous that you'd like to make, Blake.
Yeah, just the Fishy crew. We have a lot of fun racing every single night. I mean, everyone says it, that their teams are great and have a lot of fun racing with their teams, but there's something a little bit special about this team, and we really enjoy it. We may not be the fastest all the time, or right up there every single week, but we certainly love racing together and racing fair and clean as much as we possibly can with everyone around, especially with the Vets guys as well. So thanks to West End Motor Group, Infinity Designs, DC Shades, Battery Warehouse, Early Beach, Precision Sim Training.
Mate, thank you very much for joining us yet again here tonight. I hope you have a lovely evening, and celebrate that second place with Dave.
Good on you, Scotty. Good on you, boys. Have a good night.
And finally, we're going to take one step further up the podium, and we're going to have a quick chat to tonight's race winner. And he's not just the race winner, he's also, by unanimous decision, going to be taking out tonight's Chubby Buns Burgers driver of the day. So Scotty Gamble, 2 prizes in 1 for the first time this season.
Yeah, how you going, guys? Wow. Yeah, thank you. I don't mind a Chubby Buns burger. I've got to head up to Sydney and get one. We've been waiting for Uber Eats to deliver to Victoria, but yeah, nothing so far, mate.
Mate, nice and easy from the get-go today. Starting on the banking's never the easiest prospect in terms of things for a standing start, but you not only got the start, you got it away, you had Blake there sort of trailing you in that first stint, and then all of a sudden something changed. Lit the afterburners and scampered off down the road. The reason we gave you the Driver of the Day award, 14 seconds the winning margin. It's been a long, long time since we've seen that in such a competitive field.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, Blake was really fast, and if he was in the draft, like, he could stay with me. So, I mean, the first sort of 5 or so laps, we took it pretty easy, tried to save a little bit of fuel here and there, and then tried to light it up, see how much pace he had, see if we could break a draft leading up to the pit stop, because, you know, lap 10 was around the pit stop, and he was able to stay with me. So I guess what gave me the break was at the pit stops, he stayed in 4 seconds longer, which, you know, really hurt him. He was out of the draft then. So I sort of said to him, well, maybe if you had, you know, taken a bit less fuel, you would have stayed with me. But I mean, credit to Fishy, like, they drove really well. They put 4 of their guys in the top 5 and worked fantastic as a team. So yeah, that'll be amazing to watch back on the broadcast that you guys do and see how they went, because yeah, that was a phenomenal effort by that team.
Mate, you're really sort of, it's only been that one race. We've really had a different race winner thus far throughout the season. You just light in the afterburners. I sort of spoke to you last year and you just sort of said, I hit my limits. I needed a little bit of time away. It's worked, hasn't it? You've come back, you've found that sense of passion again. You got all the family stuff out of the way. You wanted to go and do some more stuff, spend some time with the family, and now you've just really connected the dots once again, and you're going from strength to strength. And you can see it not just here, but everywhere else you're driving at the moment as well.
Yeah, we did. We took that season off, and I was struggling a little bit leading up to that, Scotty, and it's one of those things where if you recognise that you're struggling, you know, you should do something about it instead of sitting in the same rut. So, yeah, I took that season off, spent a bit of time with the kids, and I didn't really give away the racing as such. I wasn't racing in any leagues, but I went and done some time trials here and there. Like once a week, I'd jump on, do some V8 time trials just to keep in touch. And then I tell you what, by about round 6, 7, I was looking forward to getting back into the V8s again, but with a different approach, like you said, and cleared me thoughts and thought, let's go out, have fun, do the best we can, but not take anything personally, you know. And however it goes, it goes. But you know, we'll do the best that we can, and if we get beaten, we get beaten, and you know, make them earn it, and good on them. So yeah, that's been my approach. You know, when we had the change of teams too, that sort of helped me refresh a little bit too, Scotty. You know what it's like when you're around a good bunch of guys, especially over at 9.5 Sim Sports. It keeps you motivated, keeps you happy, and you know, you want to race for your teammates and mates there too.
Mate, I mean, the new attitude, the new everything that's sort of going through at the moment, it's, you know, you do just look invigorated, you do driving. Are you attributing that to perhaps the team environment? Was there that change, obviously, to moving over to 9.5 is so critical to the way you're driving at the moment, but is there anyone in particular you sit down and just go, this guy's really, he's dragging me along, he's really making me want to, you know, as a community effort?
Yeah, there is. I mean, like you say, the team environment, you know, a very different team. It's very organised, you know what you're doing. And I like that, having that military background. So I like to know what's going on, where we're going in a direction. And I find that at 9.5, everything's nice and neat, tucked away. That's, you know, we know what we're doing. But, you know, I really looked up to Griffin Gardner when he was at 9.5. And, you know, for him to go to Lobs Esports is a testament, you know, to 9.5 to be able to give him that, you know, that, well, for them to look at him, because Lobs Esports is obviously the premier team at the moment. And, yeah, so we got... Griffin went, and then Rick came back, but you know, Sean as well, he's in the background, he's involved with everyone, he's really encouraging, really positive bloke, and you know, he's just a good lad to be around. I'd love to go up and have some beers with him, and you know, a couple of steaks on the smoker. That'd be great, you know.
Mate, in terms of the season at large, I mean, we're off to Monza next. After that, we get into Imola, Spa, Road Atlanta, and Sandown to bring us home. We've got probably some of the longer races, given that we've got 250Ks and the 300K out of the 5 remaining races. So endurance races over the next few weeks is certainly going to test the mettle. We're coming into that part of the season, though, anyway. How's the comfort level heading into the longer races?
Yeah, well, next week we'll be busy. Like I say, Monza. So we've had like 8 draft tracks out of the 10 this season, Scotty. I think that's what it works out to be. And I'm not sure whether that's coincidence or they planned it, but it does give a lot of opportunity, a lot of mixed fields. So for my peace of mind, I've got to really refresh for Monza for Pro Series, really get back into the team, developing the sets, and, you know, that will transition over into vets. But with the longer races, Enduros coming up, I mean, yeah, you really start planning them a couple of weeks out or even longer, especially for the Enduros. But, yeah, with vets, I've taken it one race at a time, you know, do the best that we can. Kenny, I was having a chat with him, Ken Ladder, that is, the other day. He's back next week, so that'll be good to see him back. And, you know, we often can have some good races. So I'm looking forward to what this season brings. We've got a big trip planned at the end, Scotty. We're going to get away for a couple of weeks, hopefully, and ride after the vet season and head off. But yeah, so yeah, a couple of goals there and a couple of things to look forward to, mate.
Mate, congratulations here tonight on another race win. The Chubby Buns Chubby Buns Burgers driver of the day as well. Anyone that you would like to thank?
Yeah, look, jumper tonight I'm wearing is off one of the vets here. He's Sean Vanderlyn. He's over in Split 2 from Nova Sim Sports. So the reason I want to give him a shout out is Nova Sim Sports. You know, they help sponsor the V8 Veterans League, but he's got a little side business there. It's got it called Stiff Rigs Fishing and Tackle. You can find it online. It's an online shop. Bang, support your local veterans, the local community, and get some fishing gear in, I guess. I had a little look over there the other week, and it was great. But over to our sponsors over at 95 Sim Sports, RaceKraft, they're fantastic. Turn-in Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Ears, Prestige Cinematography. To you guys over in SimSpeed, you do an awesome job there with the broadcast, and also to you know, with other series as well. So really enjoy watching you guys out there live and on the reruns I get on YouTube at night, and actually quite often find a series that you guys have broadcast and tune into it. To the drivers, well done, especially to Blake, David, Michael and Paul. I mean, the fishy guys were phenomenal. Jeff had a really good race as well, so good to see Vargs back up in the top 10, and Robert Christo, what a race by him as well. So thank you guys. Yeah, bring on Monza. We'll see you soon.
Mate, congratulations on the race win, and we'll see you next week from Monza.
Cheers, guys. See you.
Well, I mean, he's just at the top of the world, isn't he? He's just in complete and utter control, and he's putting in reasonable performances everywhere. So, yeah, look, I mean, it's racing, right? But no one dominates that often, that powerfully, and that consistently.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, he's you know, you can hear how sort of relaxed and at peace he is at the moment. You know, you can just from the way he's talking in interviews and everything, you can just hear it in his voice. So and being able to have that sort of peace of mind and that sort of steady mindset is key. You know, if you can have that sorted, that just gets that extra pace. It helps everything. So you know, the fact he's been able to get that all settled is why he is driving so well now, and that mindset's in the right place, that he can put in those really, really good performances. And again, as we said, another awesome one again tonight, along with a lot of other very good performances tonight. And yeah, we go on to Monza next week, and yeah, another draft track, but another one that should produce some, again, great strategy, but some great battling as well. And we'll see if he can continue his run at the moment.
Yep, on to Monza next time out, home of, well, effectively you can say it was an oval track going to a place that did have an oval track. But Monza, it's going to be the Temple of Speed next time out. Drafting will be a big key. We saw some really dramatic racing the last time V8 veterans were there, including a driver's car suddenly just switching off while sitting inside the podium and unable to refire. That was Travis Hunt, if you recall that one back a couple seasons ago. What will Monza give us this time out? You'll have to tune in next week from 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time to find that one out. Finally, we want to say a big thank you once again, not only to the series sponsors, but I'm going to say a shout out to the admin team and the race controllers that are behind the scenes. It's a job that sometimes doesn't get all the love that it certainly appreciates, but without any of the admins that are around the V8 Veterans Championship, we do not get to go racing. And without live race controllers, that means everything has to be done post-race and all gets loaded up on a couple of people across 3 splits. That's not easy job any stretch of the imagination. So for everyone that works on the V8 Veterans Championship behind the scenes, big shout out to everyone that makes it possible here. For the people that contribute to make it possible in terms of the financial donations as well, your season sponsor, the naming rights sponsor, RaceKraft V8 Veterans. If you're looking for a new rig, get in contact with John Lee and the team at RaceKraft Simulations over in Perth. I can tell you, I'm starting to plan a trip over to Perth, and one of the people I'll be meeting on that trip will be John Lee. So keep up to date with that one. Player One Sim Gear, you heard it from the HSR guys as well, how much they've been supportive of Player One Sim Gear of late. They've been incredibly involved in keeping everyone going along. Nova Sim Racing as well, Logitech G, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Chubby Buns Burgers, proud sponsor of the Driver of the Day, and SimSpeed for your racing gloves. And now, racing sim socks, although the debate about how to use those correctly will rage on to the end of time. Ladies and gentlemen, that is another round in the books for the V8 Veterans season number 20. It was Daytona International Speedway. We'll join you next time out for the racing from the Temple of Speed.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.